of anger in Orchot Tzadikim. So he said a person who is angry cannot become a teacher because they don't have patience. Right? And as for the students, the Talmidim, afilu sherabam koes alehem, yishalu v'dakdeku lo yichush al hakas v'lo re'ivrim rabam. Even if the rabbi gets angry at them, the students have to not get angry with him. They have to be humble, and they have to realize that we made a mistake, and the rabbi is rebuking us and angry with us for a good reason. And if they don't, and then they should refrain from they should ignore his anger, refrain from fighting with him. As if one's teacher becomes angry with him repetitively and remains silent, he merits the ability to differentiate between monetary and capital laws. So therefore, the Midrash says that if you're able to handle the rebuke of your rabbi, you'll be zochet. You have such a humility, you'll be zochet to be able to know even the halachot of dinei mamonot, which are very, very complex.
How can you compare adult with a child holding, their
anger? Right, 100%. That's why, by children, you have to know how to rebuke. On one hand, King Solomon says, "Whoever withholds the rod, chosech shifto soneh beno." Whoever withholds the rod, you're supposed to use the rod. You have to be tough with him sometimes. At the same time, if you don't, if you overdo it, so then the poskim say it's lifnei iver. You're making him a stumble before the blind. How are you gonna rebuke him so strong and you don't think he's gonna fight back? He's of course gonna fight back, and you're gonna make him lose because now he's doing against the Torah by not doing kibbutz rabbeim, right? So therefore, that really the father is obligated to understand what's the right way to approach. A lot of times people make mistakes that their kids rebel against them because they did it with anger, right? Chinuch doesn't mean really get angry. Chinuch means educate and show the person that what they did is wrong. It doesn't say it's a permission now to lose your cool and to put him down, call him an idiot, and ruin his self-confidence. That's not what the mitzvah chinuch is. Chinuch is tell him what he did wrong, explain to him why it's wrong, show him what the right thing to do is, and that's it. To add in all these emotions is not necessarily healthy and not necessarily permitted. The Chazon Ish used to say, he says, instead of doing chinuch, there was one father who got upset and yelled at his son like in a very loud way, and he said, "Oh, muktzah, whatever." It was about Shabbat or something. The kid was touching muktzah, so he went very berserk about it. So the Chazon Ish said, "Listen, you thought you did mitzvah chinuch, you ended up doing 2 averot. Number one, you taught him that you're allowed to get angry. That's what you taught him. You taught him that you're allowed, a religious man is allowed to just flip out and start screaming, yelling. Number two, now what do you think? He think now because he yelled at a muktzah, he's gonna be scared now and get older and always look over his shoulder for you. He's gonna get at an age where he's not gonna be scared anymore. He's gonna do it if he doesn't understand the meaning behind it. You have to explain to him what is muktzah, why is it worth it not to touch it. Just screaming and yelling about it's not gonna change anything. There was also another story where there was a lot of big rabbis at a table in a meeting, and there was a kid in the house. It was in the house, and there was a kid, and the kid kept climbing the table. So the father of the child kept bringing the boy down from the table. They kept doing it again and again. So one guy says, "Why don't you mechanech your son? Give your son chinuch. What is this? He goes on the table." So the Chazon Ish said, "What does it have to do with chinuch?" He says, "Do you ever see an adult go on the table like that?" Meaning, chinuch sounds like, his father didn't teach him when he was younger, so therefore he does it even when he's older. No adult, even if you don't teach a child, when he's an adult, he's not going to climb on the table. Chinuch is on things that require a proper understanding. You have to explain to them. A lot of times kids do things because they're just kids, and they'll change. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people who say, they're kids, so it's okay, let them be. There's certain things that they will not understand on their own. There you have to give chinuch. Anything to do with mitzvot, anything to do with derech eretz and being honest and having good character traits, those need to be taught. You can't just assume it's going to go away. But these little, excited energy, jumping around, not focusing, that gets better when the kids are older. The maturity comes by itself. So therefore, a person says, no, not everything needs chinuch, and not everything is going to go away by itself. A person has to find the right balance. People who scream and yell, usually, and they do it from emotion. They don't do it because I'm thinking clearly. Like the rabbi who used to say, I saw the yeshiva boys do something wrong. I'm angry. He used to go get a hat. And then by the time he came back, he already calmed down. That way he'll be able to say the right words. That's real chinuch. A person who just burst out, a lot of times they're doing more damage than good. So therefore, even with the rabbi, he has to know that he has to rebuke his students. Yes, we said in the beginning of class you should start with a joke, right? And that way everybody's in a good mood. But if you see people fooling around, you have to throw bitterness onto them. You have to make the students, they have dripping dread from their lips, meaning they have to be serious with the rabbi. You can't joke around with him and not take him serious and ignore his class. So therefore, a person doesn't know, it's a tremendous balance. The angry man, says the Orchot Tzadikim, Ka'asan en lochen b'nei habriot. He loses the favor of the eyes of the people in front of him, and he is hated by them. Mitoch kach en ma'asam mekubalim b'nei habriot. Nobody accepts his deeds, even if he possesses Torah. Ma'asim tovim en ha'olam lemedim mimenu. Nobody will want to learn from him because, say, he flips out and he gets angry. Why should we learn from him? He's not a proper person to learn from. Darash Rav Safra. Rav Safra learned. He taught, Ragzan lo la be'ado ela ragzunoto. The angry person, the only thing you have left is anger. And the good man is given the taste of his fruits, not just in Olam Haba, even in Olam Hazeh. They say that the anger is like a worm. Like Marasota says, it's like a worm in a nut. And the worm goes inside a small little hole, eats the whole inside. And empty is hollow on the inside. It looks nice on the outside, it's empty on the inside. Same thing, a guy can have a beautiful on the outside. He has anger with everybody in his family and all his friends. In the end, it's really hollow on the inside. Now, when you are an angry person, also, you're annoying to be around. The people in your family, they have increased fear. They're scared of you. They don't want to get a fight. The wife says, why don't you say anything? I don't want to fight with him. Why? He's going to start. I'd light a match. I'd rather not say nothing, suffer. One day she might flip. One day she might break. The Gemara says that a person has to not put emay yetera. It says you have to make sure to say the three things erev Shabbat. All right? Did you do a maaser? Did you do the erov, the tafshilin? Did you do the erov, the hatzerot? And did you do likut hanir? Go and light the candle. The Gemara says you have to be careful to say it with gentle, but not hot. Why? Because if a person says it too angry with his wife, he says to his wife, "Listen, there's 8 windows, 2 doors to this house." So then the Gemara says, let the lady put the food in those meat in those on Shabbat morning because she was so scared. She forgot to put the meat. Mm-hmm. She put it Shabbat morning. She did Halal Shabbat because she was so scared of her husband. So a person has to make sure not to get angry with his family members because they only go and ruin the relationship with them, ruin their Yad Shamayim. As Shimon Gamliel said, the members of the household attempted to feed him a limb from a torn animal. What happened? The Gemara says a story over there that the Hanina ben Gamliel did not actually eat ever min achai, but the kosher meat that he was prepared for his meal got lost. So those in charge of the meal got scared that someone was going to get angry. They even took ever min achai in order not to nobody get a reaction, nobody to get upset. The Gemara says that the Hanina ben Gamliel was prevented from eating it from Siyad Shmaya, but look what happens. People are willing to do put non kosher in order to save a person from getting angry at them. Person who's an anger type, also another problem is, he doesn't let go of things, he holds it in. And he doesn't let anybody tell him an insult, he has to put everybody in their place. And he says the anger prevents a man's heart from all that's good, and when he has anger in his heart, he cannot have pity on anybody. He doesn't, even the poor, he cannot have pity on them. And we said before, whoever is cruel to the ones who deserve mercy, in the end, he'll be merciful. He'll be merciful to the cruel, and he'll end up cruel to the merciful. So this person, he can't have pity for anybody. He'll not be wise, because we said you lose all your wisdom when you get angry. And finally, he'll not be able to hear musar. That's the hardest part. Person who's angry type and he has gava, when people tell him that you're angry, no, I didn't get angry. It's normal. Tell him to change himself. Every shalom bayit. How does that happen? What's wrong with the wife? Oh, she does this. What's wrong with the husband? Oh, he does this. Okay, so guys, you know what you need to work on? No, why should I change? Let her change first. Why should I change? Let him change first. And therefore, the angry guy is the same thing. He says, why should I? Look what he behaves. I didn't do anything wrong. He deserves it. So a person like this, how can you change? How can you give him musar? You can't. You got to talk to him. You got to be gentle with him. And then eventually, when you start telling him what he does wrong, he gets upset with you also. So this guy, there's almost no hope for him if he doesn't work on himself. That's why the sages say it's better to have you rebuke yourself more than 1,000 rebukes from somebody else. Because a person can have spoken to 1,000 times. He says, yeah, okay. But when you finally tell yourself, you know what, I really need to change, it's worth more than 1,000 rebukes from your friend. Look at Shammai. The Gemara says, and we'll end with this. The Gemara says that Shlomo HaMelech says the words of the wise is accepted when it's uttered gently. The ones who spoke and gave rebuke too strong with too much anger ended up being, they went far from Hashem. For example, the Gemara says, Kapdunato shel Shammai, Biksha letardenu min ha'olam. The three Gerim who came to Hillel, right? There was the one who said, convert me in condition I'm a Kohen Gadol. Then he said, convert me, teach me the whole Torah, regel ahad, right? And the other one said, convert me, don't teach me Torah Sheba'al Peh, only Torah Shebechtav, right? So those three, they went to Shammai first. Shammai took out a stick and he said, hey, get out of here, what do you mean? You think you can learn Torah like that? You think you can accept mitzvah like that? You're a joke. So because he was makbid on them, they went far. But, and Vatunoto shel Hillel, the humility of Hillel brought us under the wings of the Shekhinah. So much so, the Gemara says a story about Hillel, right? They kept asking him Erev Shabbat to get out of the shower. They asked him why the bulge, people like this, the feet of the African people like that, the eyes of the people like that. And he came out of the shower each time and he gave him an answer. And he didn't get angry with him that he asked him such a preposterous question. To show you that they see that Hillel, even they asked him, they wasted his time. He didn't get angry with them. We should be zocheh to be able to be like Hashem and have unlimited mercy. Baruch Me'olam.